I know, right?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Sherry, Shaw, and I'm gonna help kick this off a little bit. So before we get started, let me hear some hooting and hollering.
Woo
We're here for a reason, very important reason. So I just really thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of Novant, on behalf of NHRMC, and for all the organizations that are here. Just thank you so much. Again, my name is Sherry Shaw. I serve in the role as Assistant Dean for Student Success in the College of Health and Human Services at UNCW. But today I come here just as another woman learned about her health story. And so I want to take a little moment just to share and highlight a little of that in hopes that it can help you become more comfortable as you help other women tell their story as well as you tell yours. Is that okay?
Yes!
Right. I need feedback, so is that all right? All right. Okay. So I won't be up here long, but I definitely wanted to highlight. As you can see, I'm not Miss North Carolina. So hopefully, if you want my autograph, or if you want pictures, I'm happy to do it. They don't mean much, but the story will definitely help you understand. So I know that we always talk about women's health, and we always talk about how much we seem to taboo the concept of women's health, and we don't really tell our story. And so I want to tell mine. So the first 5 months of 2021 were pretty tough for me. So what happened was I had a friend who called and she shared with us, a group of my high school friends, that she was going to the hospital. She then called 3 hours later. She said that they had found a mass. And then 3 hours later, she was going into emergency surgery. After she came out 2 days later, she found out that she had colon cancer stage 3. She was 41 years old at the time, and now she is going through chemotherapy. One of the things that she asked us to do when she told us what was happening to her was to go and get checked. At 41, we all know that colonoscopies usually are average at age 45. And so I went to my doctor and told her the story of what was happening to my friend Hakima and asked her for a colonoscopy. I have a history of colon cancer in our family, but it wasn't until Dr. Brannon decided that she heard my story and she let me have a colonoscopy and she helped me get that first preventative test. So I think what I want to tell you first is advocate for yourself. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you are going through or facing, but you have to find the doctor who's going to listen to you. Find the doctor that's going to help you advocate for your health. And I found that Dr. Brannon. So I ended up having the colonoscopy in January, and they found a couple of adenomas that were flat. They were able to clip some polyps, but there was a flat adenoma that was on its way to colon cancer. And so luckily, I was able to receive that diagnosis earlier before it was getting to cancer, and went on to have the conversation around colon resection and removal. You can imagine I just went in for a normal colonoscopy. I didn't think that I was going to come out needing to have a colon resection, which they were thinking about taking out 3 feet of my intestines. But come to find out, that's where my story began. And we have to be comfortable with these chapters in our story. They don't have to be the final chapter, but we have to be comfortable in it becoming a chapter. So I went to the doctor. We started to come up with a plan. I made sure I started to tell my friends, my Link sisters, my sorority sisters, and became a voice to help other people get their tests. In February, I went to have the surgery, and things took a left turn. They ended up aborting the surgery because I ended up having 2 fibroids in my uterus the size of watermelons, and they weren't able to get to the colon, and so they aborted the surgery. I had to sit in that space for a very long time and try to give myself grace and try to protect my mental health, because now we have another situation and I still have the colon issue. From there, we went back to the doctor, came up with another plan, and on April 28th, I had to have an emergency hysterectomy that also then allowed them to go in and to remove the adenomas of concern. So it was a tough 4 months, thinking about going just to have a preventative screening and ending up without having a hysterectomy and also having colon removal. So I say all that to say is that not only is step one to be able to advocate for yourself, the other one is to hear and heed getting your screenings. The other thing is to make time for yourself. As women, we are often putting our care secondary or to the side to take care of our family, our loved ones, to work longer hours, to do whatever we have to do for other people, and we hardly have the chance to care for ourselves. And it was really important that we take our time and we make time for the screenings, and we also make time for the doctor's appointments. But on the flip side, it's now in October. I'm healthy. I have regained all of my energy, and now I'm able to be a voice to talk about why women's health is so important. So I'm so excited to be here to stand before you in good health and in good faith, to be able to say that you are able to sustain and understand those diagnoses that you receive, and also to be able to conquer them. I think that we know that this month of October is very important when it comes to breast health and breast care, but also it's important that every month we realize that we need to make time for ourselves, make time for our screenings. We need to eat right. We don't need to wait until something happens. We need to become more proactive around our self-care. So I really hope that we continue to have these events, because these are important, where we are meeting women where they are. And also just because minority women, we do seem to have more impacts when it comes to some of these health concerns, and we often receive the diagnosis when there isn't a lot of opportunity for treatment. And so we have to make sure that we are doing whatever we can proactively so that we can have the chance to have a positive diagnosis. So I applaud Novant for the mobile mammogram machine. I applaud all of you all for being here. I appreciate the time that you're giving me to hear my story, and know that you all have your own stories as well. And I think that the final thing I'd like to leave you with is to share your story. People are going through a lot. We don't know what people are facing, but if we don't share our story, we can't heal and help each other. It's important that we break down these taboos associated with painful periods and constipation and breast lumps and fibroids, and we need to normalize these conversations and these subjects. You know, I always tell my friends, if you come to me, we're going to talk about poop and period, P and P's, and we need to be careful that we don't shame someone because they have an issue and then they no longer feel comfortable sharing their story. We need to encourage them, support them, educate them, and provide them with resources, exactly what you are all doing today. So I just thank you for all that you're doing, all you continue to do. It is such an important mission. We need to continue to collaborate, come together. Even if one person is touched today, you did your job, and you should really be proud of it. So thank you so much for your time. Continue to do the great work. I'm happy to be here.